Hello, everyone. Welcome to Second Bloom Studio. I am Wendy Davis, and this is where we women over 55 and older gather to talk about art, creativity, spirit, and our next steps into moving to our best life. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Today, we're going to do a bit of a dive into the creative zone, bringing down barriers to the zone and allowing divine creativity to flow through us. So, how do we get there? And just how do we get truly inspired? How do we not let it slip away? And just what does it mean for you and me to live creatively? There are so many ways to answer these questions, and I will share my tried and true ways of connecting, but I hope to learn your tips as well. Everybody can use new strategies, so jot some down if you have any in the back of your mind. Are you happy with your creative process? Do you have daily practice of connecting to your creative side and letting the divine creative flow through you? I'd like to say that I have it all figured out, but I don't. And I have days that are so full of flow and so otherworldly that I just, I lose track of time. It's so fabulous. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's really great. And I don't consciously aim to get to that state. I just try my hardest to show up and to see if inspiration blesses me with her presence. I find that the longer I go without a day in the studio, the more resistance builds up in me. And then I don't want to go. And that's really awful. But it's like the longer I wait, the more I kind of like, oh, what if I forgot how to do it? But I find, if I get in there, if I'm just not feeling it, I go about things as if I do. I get out my canvas, I turn on my iPad to look at, or whatever I'm using for my, my reference. I do the prep work, I clean my palette off, and I just move into the focus on the task that I'm doing. Just the little thing, whether it's cleaning off the palette or, putting the music on, getting the brushes out, getting things organized. My mind kind of narrows to the scope of that one thing. So, I'm putting paint on the brush. I'm just touching up this little corner over here, or just laying in the background color, or, it just moves from element to element. And then all of a sudden, I'm just painting and moving through the process on kind of autopilot. And so, I don't know. Do you ever feel like it's not even you doing the thing? That's when this sort of takes over. I feel this pretty often, and I get so involved in the minutiae of the process that the overall idea that I'm creating is gone. I just move through the colors, I arrange the colors in values, and I correct the proportions. I do all the little tweaks, each its own little thing. But it all adds up, and pretty soon hours have gone by, and you step back and it's a whole other picture now. Maybe it's not finished, but it's a lot further along. And this is where the flow comes in. And I imagine it's this way for any type of thing that you love and you're interested in. I find it happens in many areas of my life, not just painting. Creativity shapes how I move through the world. It really helps me problem solve. It helps me do everything from organizing my kitchen cabinets to the quickest route to do my errands, thinking about how that works. Whether I'm planting tomatoes or creating the panels that I paint on, it's there when I take the dog for a walk. It's there when I surrender in meditation. Does that resonate with you? What is it that you love to do so much that you can easily get lost in it? Explore that. Don't wait. Give yourself a short introductory task that just moves you closer to actually embarking on this new creative challenge. Go buy yourself sheet music to play from. Read through it. Give yourself a 5-minute window to play it. If that's your thing. Watch a YouTube gardening video and then go get some seeds and plant. or clear a space in your yard for a garden, or just get some pots to put on the patio. Just break it up into these small little steps that you can take that will get you started down this path. And pretty soon it snowballs and you're just in it. You're just all of a sudden you're a gardener. Your future self will be so happy that you started now and tried this thing for real. And just say, I want to take this time for me, and I want to do this thing that I know I already love to do. I just don't get a chance to do it. So I'm going to take this time. Carve out a space for you to begin. It can be, just a small practice when you start. Just allow yourself the leeway. What are you considering giving more of your time to? Where are you allowing creative juices to flow to manifest this new pleasure? What are you thinking about? I would love to know. Share your answers in the comments. I can't wait to see what the different paths you are all on. Maybe it's all painting because you're here watching me paint, and that's fabulous. But I bet some of you do a whole lot of other things. And by sharing, you can help others here to reconnect with maybe a little forgotten part of themselves. And if you're enjoying these conversations, please do subscribe and join our growing circle. We're building a beautiful group of thoughtful, creative women, and I'm so grateful that you're a part of it. Oh, yeah. So all this discussion of motivation and inspiration, it reminds me of a really wonderful, great book that I read on this subject. I highly recommend it. It's called Big Magic, and it's by Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love fame. And I recommend listening to the audiobook. You can get it on Audible or free via the public library. I have the Libby app. I think that's the one that is all over the country. So you can get it at the library for free. It is read by the author, who is a delight to listen to. I have listened to it twice already, and I often go on YouTube to see the interviews where Elizabeth is speaking on this book. She's so fabulous to watch her tell these stories because they're so great. This book, it is a delicious narrative on inspiration and how it happens and how it flows in and out of the world and what to do if it comes to you. Elizabeth tells a tale of inspiration as the genius within. She points to ancient Greek and Roman beliefs which held that humans didn't contain or embody genius, but rather received visits from genius, or from a genius, or genius in general. This removes the immense pressure of feeling entirely responsible for your own creative brilliance. She says, if I show up and do the work and it's crap, it's not my fault. My genius didn't show up. And her notion of inspiration and ideas can be somewhat summarized as follows. Ideas are free-flowing entities. They're alive, and they come looking for willing partners. And if we ignore them for too long, they may move on to someone else who's ready to bring them into the world. Isn't that fascinating? If you do not act on it, the idea moves to the next candidate who is willing to bring it into fruition. She has so many delightful and incredible examples of how this exact thing is played out in creative people's lives. One such example, which I love, she interviewed the poet, 90-year-old poet, Ruth Stone, who said ideas would come through her like a locomotive. For example, she would be outside working in the garden when a poem would come at her like a train roaring down the track, and she knew she had to jump up and run like hell to the house and get a pencil and paper to write it down. And sometimes it flowed through her so forcefully, she would have to employ such extreme frantic recall that she would be pulling words back into existence, writing that poem backwards, line by line. That is so fabulous. I cannot even say how great I think that story is. Do you allow this kind of inspiration to grab hold of you when it happens? I live for that kind of inspiration. Think how many times you've had an idea, a dream, a calling, and you and you talked yourself out of it. I've done that lots of times. Think how many women do this, especially women of our age. We think, oh, it's too late. Who would care? I'm not talented enough. I should have started years ago. But what if this season of your life is actually the beginning, not the ending? Maybe, just maybe, because inspiration has been trying to find you too. Maybe the universe has been nudging you towards something bigger, something beautiful. And maybe all that's required is for you to say yes. Maybe the universe has been nudging you towards something beautiful, a painting, a journal, a garden, a business, a class, a new beginning. Maybe that's all that's required is for you to say yes. And then in the meantime, figure out ways to collect and keep ideas filed away for quiet moments. When you have time and inclination, I have some routines that I do to keep me inspired. I keep hundreds of digital visual files in my computer, files and folders divided into hundreds of subjects, image groups that I want to paint one day. So I never run out of inspiration. I always have a habit of taking photographs and calling the good shots from all of those, and I file them away. And then, someday when I'm finding a moment where I don't have a painting going, I can go look through those. So many images. So even if genius doesn't show up and hit me over the head with the best idea ever, I still have a few in my back pocket to work with. So this is your gentle reminder for today. Don't wait for perfection. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait to feel fearless. And don't wait for permission. Just begin. One brushstroke, one sentence, one planted seed, one musical note. That's enough. Just start. And before you go, I'd love to give you a little creative invitation for this week. Choose one thing that brings you into flow and give it just 20 minutes. That's it. And then come back and tell me how it felt. How did it feel to do something for yourself, to express yourself creatively? We inspire one another here. And so thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Truly, you make my heart full. I'm sending you so, so much love. And I hope I'll see you in the next video. Until then, go create something beautiful with your life. Namaste.